Right, now some of you may remember I bought a 130i from BCA auction in November of last year. It was definitely the worst one I could find on sale at the time, and I never really got around to sorting it, especially with the terrible weather we had over winter. Anyway, it's back and it's basically turned into one massive biohazard and is full of mold. How did this happen, you may ask? Well, you remember that rear window delete it had? I never changed it in time, so the constant rain essentially just turned it into one big swamp. Now fast forward to about a month ago, I was just thinking on how to deal with this car going forward. It's just sitting there just basically decaying, and I thought it would be nice to sort of save a 130i that's just turned into a complete state. Many people would see this thing as scrap, but I thought no, it's quite a cool car from its very inception, so we'll deal with it. And in the end, I decided to buy a whole donor car because yeah, the whole thing was completely trashed. Right, so as you can hear, I've bought a diesel 1 series, it's beeping at me. It's actually a 123D, which needs a timing chain. That's why it sounds like a tractor currently. Plenty of warning lights. That's shaking nicely. We've got Pringles on the floor, penny change. Now this thing may let go at any second now, but I'm willing to take that risk just to show you it in a bit more detail. Yeah, not great. Turn it back off. All of a sudden it's gone way more peaceful. Now some of you may be thinking, why have I gone ahead and bought a whole nother sort of E87 just to fix the 130i? Surely this thing isn't that bad. Believe me, it is that bad. I'm not too sure how much I've mentioned in the kind of intro catch-up section at the start of the video, but basically the interior on that thing got completely trashed over winter. It was covered in mold. I was going to need every last piece of it. And yeah, once you start adding up all these £20 trims and £40 this and £30 that, it adds up to quite a lot. So I thought I'd see what's out there in terms of a whole car, because I am going to actually need, well, you can see for yourself, doors are completely gone. It hasn't even got the correct mirror for it. This thing is the same color as my 335i and it's held on with tape. So yeah, this is what I've ended up with. It's a 123D M Sport, and the way I came across this car is I simply just put a post up on Instagram asking if anyone's got a battered E87 5-door Le Mans blue. I didn't care about the engine or anything like that. Now the eagle-eyed amongst you have already noticed those, which are xenon headlights. Quite expensive to buy separately on eBay, probably around £300-400. So that alone made this car a lot more exciting. It's also got the front calipers from a 335i, which is a nice touch. I believe it's got upgraded brake pads on the rear as well. I'm not too sure on the front, but that rear disc doesn't look standard. Now this being an LCI car and it having the xenon option, I believe you get these along with it. So well, they're slightly different to begin with in terms of the visuals, but they also have these LED strips running across. So I'm gonna try and find out the best way to retrofit them on that, because it'll make it look a lot nicer. Now, and here is where things get a lot more exciting. So for one, you're probably noticing this very fresh looking steering wheel. So the lad who sold me the car actually owns a steering wheel retrim service. I'll put his Instagram name on the screen now. And he basically said, if I'm going to sell you the car, I'll throw in a wheel. Just choose what pattern you want. So I wanted to go with full Alcantara with a grey stripe, and he's done the sort of white stitch in there. This has also got the black leather option, which you don't see too often. Makes it a bit more premium in here. That didn't have it, and most of the cars I saw, they just had that two-tone effect that they mostly have. But also, because this is an LCI, it's got the new door cards, which are a lot more, well, they're just better in every way. They got this leather piece on here rather than that very plastic looking effect. Manual, of course, so I can use all these shifters and everything. Decent trim. And yeah, LCIs also get this up here, which is like a storage compartment. I first thought it was iDrive, but then there's no controller here, and then I realized that LCIs come with this irrespective whether you have iDrive or not. So yeah, all in all, a pretty decent little donor car for the 130i. I mean, these are pretty cool in their own right. The 123Ds, especially when they came out, is a big deal. Twin turbo 4-cylinder diesel, and probably is a bit quicker than that, especially once tuned. Now moving on to the most important part, the price I paid for it. So I paid £1,600 for this car, including it being transported to my house. Big shout out to Joe for sorting that out. I think that's a pretty good price, especially when you consider the fact that that engine can be repaired. It will be available for sale once I've dealt with the rest of it. Probably as like a rolling shell with all the body panels off that, and basically no interior. And the only kind of downside with it is that it has been written off in the past. It is a Cat N, but you wouldn't believe how minor the damage was. It was literally just a rear side impact over here. Now I was made aware of that fact by doing a full vehicle check on this thing before going ahead with the purchase. It's something I always do even if I am planning to tear this thing apart and not have any use for it. And that itself brings us neatly onto our sponsor for today's video, Car Vertical. Now, if you're not familiar with Car Vertical, it's a website that allows you to obtain a full report on any car. All you gotta do for this is enter the registration of it. Now, as you can see on the screen here, I've got the 123D report up. It's showing us clear for most of the main parameters, but has a marker in the damage section stating that it's a category N write-off, aka non-structural, and it states that it happened in the UK. But the best part of all this is if we scroll down, we can actually see photos of the car at salvage auction in April 2020. All looks pretty original. Xenons are there, questionable M stripes on the front grille, which I'm glad have disappeared. And yeah, the damage on the sort of driver's side quarter panel, yeah, it basically looks like the bumper's hanging off and that's about it. I know I am going to be taking the car apart, but it's nice to know that the panels are not going to all be mismatched in different colours. But yeah, the main kind of thing I've noticed from these photos is it has the original front bumper with the washer jets, which you normally get with Xenon headlights. The car currently doesn't have that now, but I can't really complain in the grand scheme of things. The car's pretty decent for my use. Now, the guys at Car Vertical have also supplied me with my own link, which is down below in the description. If you click on that, you'll get 10% off your next report. So yeah, check it out. Support them. They're supporting the channel. Let's crack on with the 130i now and show the tear down, which I've already filmed. This will be like part 1. And then part 2 will be, yeah, tearing this apart and body panels. But yeah, let's crack on. Yeah, it's basically just Chernobyl in here. I mean, the thing's just covered in mold. That back seat's the worst one. I believe that did actually have a bit on there when I collected it. I wasn't too sure at the time, but it definitely has it now. Right, so here we are. First set of gloves for today. I'm pretty sure we'll go through a whole box by the time we're done. Gets even worse once you look at it from this angle. All that headline is just covered in mold. Now, I'm sure there's a bunch of you detailers who are probably sitting there thinking, yeah, I could have sorted that out for you and cleaned it all up and made it look nice. Now, there's no doubt you could probably clean the mold off, but there's no chance I'm sitting in it after I've seen this. It's probably gone through all the pores and all of that, but yeah, we'll get this all stripped out, dash included, carpet, center console, everything out. But before we do that, there is one other thing you do want to put on when dealing with mold. I've probably sat here long enough without actually putting it on. Need a mask. Yeah, I don't know what my voice is going to sound like with this on. Might have to just switch to a voiceover at this point. Now, to begin with, I decided to clear out all the junk in the boot. There was already a ton of glass in there from the previous window being smashed, so yeah, there was risk of cutting your fingers as well as inhaling mold. And once that was done, it was time to start removing the seats. I think from here, we'll basically cut the voiceover and stick to pure sounds of destruction, because that's what it is, believe me. Right, just switch to the iPhone so you can have a look for the first time. I am. Absolutely disgusting, that is. I have no idea what that little yellow thing over there is, but it's probably some form of wildlife growing in here. On to the next seat. It's already looking so much nicer in here. Right, okay, so a little update on how we're getting on. All the seats are out. The biggest change is going to be that headliner though, because every time you stick your head in here, you can just feel like there's just some nastiness above your head. This carpet is definitely expired as well. We're not going to be retaining that. We also still have the steering wheel that looks like it was attacked by a dog at some point. Here's a better look at the interior out in the open. There's no way to explain what's going on here, I guess. And there we have it, just in the nick of time. Got it mostly all vacuumed up, all the loose dirt is gone, just as the cloud is about to erupt. Yeah, we do need to obviously give it a bit more of an agitated clean, maybe with some brushes and some actual detergent or cleaner, I don't know, but at least all the glass is now gone. Big relief. Yeah, it goes to show the car is actually pretty good underneath all of that terror that we saw earlier. Right, and there we have it. That's probably the end of what we could call part one of the 130i restoration series. I actually filmed those clips before I went to the Nürburgring, so it has been quite a few weeks. I haven't touched the car apart from putting a bit of sellotape here because this door has decided it no longer wants to line up, even worse than what it was before. So I thought to prevent any rain getting in, I'll put some tape on it. And I have gone ahead and put on the 335i wheel because I've upgraded that one, which I haven't shown yet, but that's doing the job, so I can move it around. Got this random exercise sort of step here to sit on. But the car's looking pretty much completely gutted, and a few bits and pieces there that I've decided to keep. It's got all the original service books and stuff like that, so yeah, they're okay, and those back trims weren't too bad. Don't know what I'm planning to do with this car once we've transplanted all of these bits into there, but let me know in the comments what you want to see. Could make for a good track car, but I don't know how much work it's going to require, so yeah, we'll see what's what. Yeah, as ever, if you enjoyed it, drop a like on it. Also subscribe for a lot more content to come. Got a bunch of E60 stuff coming up, and we may be going on a road trip and that soon. And yeah, there's just a bunch of catch up to be doing now that it's summer.